Hey guys, this is the Game Changer. I'm Nate Grumman. This is Max Beatty.
How's it going, folks?
Yeah. So before we get into this, we need to play. We usually don't do the whole theme music deal before a show starts, but we felt like on this occasion it really needs to happen. So please, by all means, bear with us. Give us a minute. This is going to be a rough show. Why must feelings overtake us? God dang it.
That hurt. I'm not gonna lie, that hurt.
It's going to hurt even more hearing that on Monday and just knowing everything that's been going on.
We should probably explain this for like the 3 people out there who still have.
Yeah. So basically, if you have not heard, as of right now, it's been on the rumor mill for a while now. It actually broke out today. Broke out by PW Insider as well as a couple other wrestling deals. Is that heavy rumors are escalating, and they are suggesting that Paige is done with her in-ring career. Quote unquote, she is slowly going into retirement.
I mean, for those of you who follow me on Twitter, earlier today, I shared an article from the website Uprocks, specifically from their pro wrestling page, WizBandX, and it was going into more details on it. From what has gotten out, she suffered a stinger. I'm sure we all know what that is. Minor neck injury. Which normally, won't be a big deal. Sometimes they can sideline you for even a few months, but it's not a, huge career-altering thing. But when news went quiet, that's when people got worried, and apparently she was having neck, shoulder, and back problems beforehand. The article I shared on Twitter mentions that, doctors had been telling her she shouldn't be wrestling anymore, like maybe she should take this as a sign to quit, and that's before this injury. That's, when she was getting cleared to rejoin WWE. So if that is true, then even something as simple as a stinger might be enough to end your career. And I don't want to make this any grimmer than what it already is, because, Paige is, from what she's shown outside of wrestling, she's a great person. She's a phenomenal in-ring performer, great on the mic. She's excellent. She really is one of the founders of the WWE Women's Revolution. But if it is true that doctors were saying, hey, you shouldn't be wrestling anymore before she came back to WWE fucked up big time by having her come back. I get it, she probably wanted to come back. It was definitely going to be a ratings grab. You're going to, get a bunch of us hardcores, cheering and ranting, but you need to think of the health of your performers. I don't know if this would be as egregious as what they supposedly did with CM Punk and the whole Z-Pack thing, but WWE's got a very shady history when it comes to the health and care of their performers. There's always those bright spots. Like them sending my favorite wrestler, Jeff Jarrett, into WWE-sponsored rehab to help with his drinking and all that. That's great, but they still got a history. And I'm sorry to bring it down further. I'm sorry to make it grim, but if Paige ever does come out and say, yeah, doctors told me I shouldn't be wrestling anymore, obviously part of it's on her. That's her decision. She probably should have taken more consideration. But WWE is going to have final say, and if that part of this whole mess is true, that's not cool. You done fucked up there, WWE. I'm not accusing you, but if that's the case, you fucked up. My condolences, obviously, to Paige if this is the end of her career. You and I were discussing things before we jumped on here, Nate. I am hoping, if this is the end of her wrestling portion of her career, that, she can still have some sort of on-screen presence, maybe be the manager of Absolution. But yeah, the whole situation is just really fucking sad.
It certainly is, and in all honesty, like you said, definitely nothing but condolences, but nothing but positive vibes sent to Paige's way, and also to the family of Paige, because wrestling is part of their heritage. It's part of their lives. For basically one of their generation wrestlers to basically be forced into an early retirement due to an injury, it sucks. It really does. And Paige, like you said, she's a tremendous person outside of the ring, in the ring, absolutely amazing. I mean, God help me. A lot of the great stuff that she's done, even if some people would say, like, well, she's got kind of some bumps every now and then on her career. Yeah, but at least she still tries to make the best out of it. I would definitely say that she was, to the women's division, what AJ Styles could be to the men's division. She definitely took the best of an opportunity, even if it was an opportunity that nobody wanted to see. Like, obviously, one that stands out to me is the whole the Bella Revolution, where basically it was like Paige versus the Bellas for like a while. She still made the most of it, and instead of looking at all of the negatives that came on here, well, I want to talk about one more thing before we move on, because I do want to talk more about some of the positives in Paige's career. That way we can actually...
there's tons of positives. I mean, hell, just looking at her WWE career, I mean, that time that she beat AJ for the old belt right after WrestleMania, I think that was kind of one of the biggest holy shit moments. I mean, she's great in NXT, of course, but that was just kind of, she just beat AJ Lee? What?
Yeah, her beating AJ Lee was a great moment. And like I said, we'll have more moments to talk about in just a minute, but I do want to talk about one thing that definitely does stand out next to AJ Lee, Paige's career basically being ended, was the fact that a lot of people have been really critical about this. They have been actually blaming Sasha Banks for this injury, and this is one of those situations where I look at it and I say, it's not Sasha's fault, it's not Paige's fault. This is one of those things, it's a freak accident, it happens. I mean, you look at everything that has happened throughout the years of wrestling, there's been a lot of people that have been having career-ending injuries, and the first thing they do is people go right directly for the person that, that was involved in the deal, like Seth Rollins and Sting, for instance. People blame Seth Rollins for ending Sting's career. I don't believe that. I believe it was just one of those things where it happened. Another one probably would be Goldberg and Bret Hart. It was one of those things. It happened. There's really no fault in it. It just was a freak accident, and these things happen. And one of the things I know that in wrestling they always have is, I think, rule number one, whenever you're wrestling, be sure to protect your opponent. They are doing that. I believe that there are wrestlers that really are trying to do that. And there's very few that I can honestly say that have intentionally tried to hurt somebody. Sexy star. But
yeah, exactly.
But yeah, most of the incidences have been freak accidents where it happens. It's out of their control. You can't blame the person for every single injury. It just doesn't work that way.
No, you just can't. Like, even I'll freely admit, as a big Bret Hart fan as a kid, when I found out about the concussion and that it probably came from Goldberg's thrust kick, I was definitely, let's just say I wasn't a fan of Goldberg for a few years. But looking at that one, even, it's, he took the kick to the head, but then he also wrestled like a hardcore match the next night, and then, a couple of house shows and shit. With Sting, he made the choice to get into the ring. He agreed to the buckle bomb spot. He's the one who, it's not so much mutual blame as it's just shit happens.
Yeah, so
sucks.
Yeah. So for a lot of people that have been blaming Sasha Banks for this freak injury, just stop, okay? It was an accident.
Oh, I'm sure she feels bad enough as it is.
Yeah, and again, just stop. Don't blame her. I think that there's a lot of other things that she's getting a lot of grief for throughout her career. This is one of those things where she doesn't deserve the grief.
Exactly.
But that's just my opinion.
No, I agree. Sasha doesn't deserve that at all. And what ticks me off is that a lot of people are saying, oh, well, look at the way she bumps. She's fucking reckless. Okay, yes. One of Sasha's flaws is that she's very reckless when she takes a bump. Not when she's giving a move, guys.
Right.
It's like, geez, open your eyes and pay attention. She's the one who's usually almost dying, not her opponent.
Exactly. So, like I said, we're going to talk a little more about some of the positives throughout Paige's career. We'll definitely take about a couple more minutes here to do that. You mentioned the AJ feud with Paige, which was absolutely great. I mean, I guess a lot of people would definitely say, but that was basically them playing hot potato with the Divas title. Honestly, that was when the Divas title was starting to get relevant again. That was where people really started giving a crap about that championship, because for a long time, it was just kind of like, well, it's just kind of there. I mean, I think it all started with AJ, where she started trying to make that championship relevant again. And then you add Paige into the mix, it makes it even more relevant, and more people are talking about it. And then we go a little bit deeper into that, then you start bringing in people like Charlotte, like Becky, like Sasha, and they start trying to make the championship more relevant again until they, of course, pull the trigger and decide, okay, we're going with the WWE Women's title. It's like, great, no more of that butterfly belt. Instead, we get a championship belt that looks like the Intercontinental title, looks like the Raw title, just looks great. And in honesty, I think that a lot of us have not looked back since. I mean, there's some people that say, well, the women's title is not as good as the Divas title was. Well, that's because that the Raw women's title still has a few more years to go before it can reach that level of what the Divas title had. But, again,
for me, I gotta disagree with that automatically, because the women's belt became immensely important for two reasons. One, you had Lita introduce it at WrestleMania of all places. That I'm just saying. And two, it's not called a Divas belt, and it doesn't look like a tramp stamp.
Hard to disagree with that. I mean, a lot of people
it doesn't have the same level of prestige. Yes, it doesn't have the same level of prestige as that tattoo on your ex-girlfriend's lower back. I know.
Whew, man, throwing a nice 50 Shades of Grey right there, man.
I'm getting salty.
I can hear that. One thing that...
I'm sorry, I like women's division belts, I should say. It's just... yeah.
Questionable booking, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, we can talk a long time about that. But another thing that is a highlight for Paige's career is the fact that she was the first ever NXT Women's Champion. They had a tournament, and it came down to Emma versus Paige, where a lot of people believe that's where the women's revolution began. And in all honesty, it's hard to disagree with that, because Paige and Emma, they put their bodies on the line. They did an amazing job putting a great matchup. And Paige wound up being the victor and being the first ever NXT Women's Champion. And she became the first and only woman to hold the NXT Women's Championship as well as the Divas Championship. So, again, another notch under Paige's belt for that.
Exactly. I mean, that NXT feud was that was amazing. Like you mentioned, her whole feud with AJ. Honestly, I know this is extremely recent, but I would just say her return and her whole thing with Absolution, it kind of gave the Raw Women's Division a huge amount of direction, and you can't deny the reaction that not only they got when they first came out, but every night since. Like, just the fact that she can create a highlight that big just so recently after being gone for so long speaks volumes about her as a performer.
Definitely. I fully agree with that. She coming back for her was definitely one of the major things that a lot of people really looked at and thought, oh wow, we're finally getting Paige back after about, I want to say, I think it was maybe a year. Because basically I think she got drafted to Raw, and that was, I think, the last that anybody really heard of her, because then she got into the whole deal with, El Patron, and we're not even going to go into that. We're not even going to go into all the negatives and all the leaks and all that kind of stuff. We're focusing on the positives of Paige. And like you said, her being the leader of Absolution and being able to be there for these two new girls, in Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville, is honestly really cool to see, because you have a veteran in the ring helping these two young ladies grow and really become stars in and of their own rights. It's really cool to see that. And I think that, if the rumors are indeed true and Paige is going to be ending her career, one of the things I think she's definitely going to do is going to be still a manager for Absolution, and she's going to definitely help out Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville immensely. She'll definitely say, well, here in wrestling, you kind of lacking on this. This is how, I would do it. Maybe you could try to suggest of this, and just help grooming them, helping them become this next generation of women's wrestlers that everybody's going to want to see. Because right now, they're starting to really pique interest. They're starting to think, wow, Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville, they're something. They are really something. But, they're going to be... It's going to take a while, but I think soon, eventually, they're both going to be on the women's roster, and a lot of people are going to be like, oh, man, we're going to see Sonya Deville. We're going to see Mandy Rose. It's going to be awesome. And all that's going to be thanks to Paige, in my honest opinion.
Oh, I agree with you 110%. Now, that's not to throw any shade at the other two women as performers, but I hate to say it, I really do. It's got more to do with the way the women's division gets treated and booked, even at this point in time. But I think it would have been a ridiculous struggle, just the two of them getting over on their own, just, two newcomers, two newbies, just coming up from NXT into the Raw women's division, just kind of thrown into the deep end, specifically the deep end that the writers kind of seem to forget about every once in a while. So, there's teaming up with Paige. God, they're throwing someone a bone, and then they're tossing them a whole fucking skeleton. Like, even with, I do still think that they kind of need her, which is why I kind of hope they keep, even if her ring career's over, I hope they keep Paige on, like, as a manager or some kind of visual support for them. Because I still think it is going to take some time to get them properly over as themselves and not just as a part of Absolution.
Yeah, I do agree with that, but it'll still take a while. But give it time. We're not going to expect, Mandy Rose to be the next Trish Stratus or Sonya Deville to be the next, Jazz overnight. It's going to take a little bit of time, and eventually they are going to get to that point. And one thing that I was hoping to bring up, and this happened long before we found out about this whole situation, was that I thought one of the things that they definitely could have done was they've been really hyping up the fact that they want to reunite the four horsewomen, Charlotte, Becky, Sasha, and Bayley. And one of the ideas that they had was that they wanted to do, four horsewomen versus the four horsewomen of UFC. Now, obviously, two of them are not fully on board with working for WWE, which means that they have, Shayna Baszler and very heavily rumored Ronda Rousey. So one of the ideas that I had was that they could actually still do something like that. They could still reunite the four horsewomen, but instead of the other four horsewomen of UFC, what they could do is they could actually have the four horsewomen in WWE take on Absolution. They have Paige, Sonya Deville, Mandy Rose, and honestly, you could throw Ronda Rousey in there, and she'd be a really good heel to work with them, and just have, I would have 3 matches for them. One at WrestleMania, one in between hand, maybe at the Money in the Bank show, or maybe at the Extreme Rules event, or something like that, and then the final brawl happen at SummerSlam, where it's just like a 4-on-4 elimination style. That way, again, you're giving everybody this fantasy deal where they can say, hey, we get the four horsewomen, it's going to be awesome, and blah, blah, blah. And you're also helping create new stars. You're giving Ronda Rousey some really good exposure. You're giving Mandy Rose and Sonya all that exposure to main event talent, so they're getting their credibility pushed. And you're giving them more time to be in the ring with these ladies so that they can learn how to really become main event level deals. That's just good booking right there. In all honesty, they could still do that, even with Paige not being involved. They have one other person that they could also bring in, that being Shayna Baszler. In all honesty, Absolution with 2 of the four horsewomen of UFC, I'd pay money to see that. I don't know if you would.
I don't know. because I mean, I think mostly I'm kind of leaning towards where you're coming from, but I don't know. I really haven't been following this one that closely, I got to admit. I mean, it's one of those situations where if it happens, my interest is piqued. If it doesn't, I don't really feel like I lost out on anything. But if they're going to do it, man, I can think of a couple of different ways they can do it right, but I mean, point to you with what you said there, man.
Yeah, it's just mainly doing kind of what they did with S.H.I.E.L.D. and Evolution, although probably not going through the one-sided deal where S.H.I.E.L.D. just basically destroyed everything in their way.
Oh my god, I mean, holy shit, there was like, oh, they won the first match pretty decisively, okay, that's cool. Well, of course they're going to have a second match. I mean, how? They clearly want to do this for 3 and do a rubber match, and they clean sweeped them. Oh. Well, okay then. What the fuck? It's like, no, they definitely shouldn't do that. I don't even know. Would it have to be? Would you want it to be an elimination tag or straight up tag?
I would kind of go in the direction of the first matchup being a regular 4-on-4 and having the Absolution / 4 Horsewomen combo going over, and then having them do a rematch where it's basically. I would throw it like Extreme Rules, in all honesty. Let them just go absolutely insane with weapons. Add more of that crazy element to the deal. Absolution goes over again. And then at SummerSlam, that's where I would have the 4-on-4 elimination style, in which 4 horsewomen do indeed, finally go over. And it's one of those things where I think a lot of people would already be raging at me. They're saying, like, no, 4 horsewomen, they should be winning all the time and blah, blah, blah. It's like, you have to remember, you still have to really create stars here. And in all honesty, the main stars that are going to be here for a while are going to be Absolution. And you really also want to keep Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler as huge stars. So in all honesty, you can't have them lose at WrestleMania right away. And Extreme Rules fight, I think Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey, they would thrive on that immensely. It's basically like giving Raven the hardcore title. I think that basically Shayna and Rousey would just thrive on that. And then just doing a regular 4-on-4 elimination style, it builds up to maybe even having, Charlotte being the sole survivor of that team. Or maybe they give it to Bayley to finally give her a little bit more of a boost and more of a deal with her career. Maybe give it to Sasha. Or in all honesty, best case scenario, they give it to Becky. Because honestly, Becky deserves it. Bottom line, case closed, click, done.
No, yeah, I can definitely agree with that. fuck Becky Lynch.
we love Becky. Hashtag support Becky all the way. All right, so I think we've done...
Hashtag Lynch Mob.
Yes.
I still think that's a really unfortunate name for the fan base.
Well, I don't know. I think it kind of fits a little bit, but...
It does, but you just know someone's going to take that shit the worst possible way.
I mean, what, the sorority Sisters of Submission or whatever, that name that they had for Paige, Becky, and Charlotte, where it's just like, they could keep it as it is, but nope,
Submission sorority.
There we go. Thank you.
The SS.
Yeah.
Also, the title of the porn. WWE. Man, when they knock it out, there's no middle ground with their failures and successes. It's either, damn, they just knocked this out of the park. Holy shit. Or, wow, I didn't realize that many people could die in one sinking ship.
You're right, though. Oh, man.
It's just one or the other, and then everything else is just kind of in the middle.
Yeah, I fully agree with that. So, one more question before we move on to talking about things that have gone on through this week in wrestling. I actually posted this on Twitter, and I think a lot of people might have a bit of a disagreement with me, but I think that Paige, even during her short career, she definitely deserves one thing and one thing only, and that is to be in the Hall of Fame. I truly believe that with my heart. I think that she should go into the WWE Hall of Fame, and if she ends her career as a manager, she could still do so much and still be considered one of the best managers, in history. And a lot of people who have, only wrestled for like short amount of time, they've really created a legacy out of being managers. And I think Paige could actually do an amazing job at that. Do you think that Paige should go into the Hall of Fame?
Well, let's address this part. So I definitely agree that she should have some kind of on-screen role. I mean, that's why I brought it up. As for the Hall of Fame, I mean, she has a career extending back prior to WWE and NXT. And despite the big splash that she made, there's just this part of me that just looks at how short her career overall is, and it's just kind of, is it that? I'm torn on it. Like, I guess it falls into the category of, if they were to put her in the Hall of Fame, I would be behind it 100%. I'd be more than happy to see her be a WWE Hall of Famer, getting the class ring and all that. Fucking beautiful. Aces all the way. But if they decide against it, I'm not really going to get upset about it. And I don't think a lot of other people would. And that's not a slight against Paige. I mean, to be honest, I think Paige would probably be caught kind of off guard if they decided to offer her a spot in the Hall of Fame. Is she deserving of it? Well, based solely on talent, skill, and I guess immediate impact, is definitely an argument in favor.
Hey, I'm totally fine with that. As long as you kind of see it from my point of view, that's what matters. All right, so now we can move on to our next part of the show, because we spent about almost like half an hour talking about Paige, which in all honesty, I think that was a really good 30 minutes well spent. So, all right, so let's talk about the other retirement that was just announced, that being the world's strongest man, Mark Henry. He just announced today that he's hanging up his boots. It's finally time for him to call it a career. In all honesty, again, this is one of those guys deserves to be a Hall of Famer, first ballot Hall of Famer right now. I think that he may even be inducted this year. In all honesty, I would be surprised if he was. I would be surprised.
This guy got sexual chocolate over. Goddamn, does he deserve it? When you look at that gimmick on paper, it is so stupid. Wrestling in general is opposite land. Most ideas will sound absolutely retarded on paper, but then you see them play out and you're just like, wow, this is a good fucking idea. Sexual chocolate is one such thing. Stupid on paper. Mark Henry got that shit over. I mean, damn. And then, all the comedy stuff he did, back during the Attitude Era, and, he's held ECW Championship, World Heavyweight. The Hall of Pain is still one of the coolest fucking things I think they did, even if they did kind of run it into the ground a bit. It's still fucking amazing. I don't care. He's part of that amazing segment where he faked everyone out with ironically enough, his retirement, and then he just wrecked shop on Cena. That was awesome. No, I love Mark Henry. He's a cool dude. Hook 'em horns. He's had a long-ass career. He's done so fucking much. Not necessarily everything, but just so much. Oh, God. It's sad to see him go, but at the same time, it's like, you know what, man? You deserve it. You absolutely 150% deserve it. And I hope they put him in the Hall of Fame. If not this year, like if they've already got the class for this year set up and they don't want to make any changes or additions, that's fine. I understand that. I get where you're coming from. It's kind of last minute. He better be in there next year. Because if he's not in there next year, I'm going to insert a WWE Hall of Fame ring into someone's eye. Let's see you see through the shine of them diamonds, motherfucker.
Oh, man, I can honestly see you just going up to, like, one of the legends and just be like, hey, can I borrow this Hall of Fame ring just for a minute? Yeah, I just want to see it for a minute. Thank you. And they just go right up to Vince McMahon, just shove it right in his eye. He's like, this is what Mark Henry deserves, damn it. Put him in the Hall of Fame.
Yes, come on, Vince. No, but in seriousness, I mean, part of me is kind of sad, like I said, to see him go, but then the rest of me is just like, you know what? He had a great career. He's choosing to leave on his own terms, which, unfortunately, in wrestling isn't as common as we'd like it to be. A lot of times people hang up the boots because of injuries, unfortunately. But he's getting to leave on his own terms. He's made an indelible impact on WWE history. I always friggin' enjoyed him, so thanks for the memories, Mark. Hope to see you in the Hall of Fame, and I hope they do some kind of Mark Henry tribute on Raw or SmackDown or whatever.
Full-heartedly agree. You're not going to get an argument from me. All right, so finally we can go into Raw, SmackDown, as well as other things that went on in the world of wrestling this week. And also, I think we're going to actually talk a bit about the Mixed Match Challenge that is going to be happening this upcoming Tuesday, because maybe we can get a little bit of predictions on what we are going to be thinking is going to happen. Actually, we'll go right into it before the show ends. So let's talk a little bit about Monday Night Raw. Basically, the club owns again, but this time they defeated the Shield. Well, when I say the Shield, I mean 2/3 of the Shield, which is awesome.
Club.
And Jason Jordan.
God, that was Jason Jordan is the cringiest motherfucker right now. Oh my God. And just that whole time, like, those looks that Seth and Roman were giving him, I could feel that shit in my soul. Like, damn, did they hate this motherfucker right now. Holy shit.
Oh my gosh, this was really one of those things where I watched this unfold, and this whole thing where Jason Jordan is just, like you said, being super cringy, super, very awkward, and just the looks that Roman and Seth are giving. This does remind me a bit of back in the day when Kurt Angle was doing all those like stupid gimmicks where he's playing on the guitar or he's wearing the little cowboy hats and doing all these things where it's just like, what the hell?
You dare knock the little cowboy hat. That was hilarious.
No, I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying this is just kind of reminding me of that. It's one of those things where it's like, we're just waiting for Jason Jordan just to come out with a little sombrero or something like that, where Jason, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns, they're just talking. They're like, oh yeah, we're like in Texas or something like that. And here comes Jason Jordan with a little sombrero on his head. He's got a poncho, and they're just looking at him like, what the hell are you wearing?
I swear to God, he pulls that and everything is forgiven. Like, oh my God, this guy is the most cringy, try-hard, pseudo-heel I've ever seen. 10 out of 10 stars. Like, no, I'm dead serious, because, like, the crowd is treating him like a heel, other wrestlers are treating him like a heel, but the show itself feels like it's trying to get you behind him, and I'm just like, nah, man, nah. Don't know. I've seen tag teams with one heel and one face and forced to cooperate, and it worked. I want the full recognition. Make him the cringe master. Make him the daddy's boy, and just like have Dean come back and just be like, "The fuck, man? You guys replaced me with that? No, we didn't replace you. He kind of just forced himself in. Roman, you are literally Roman Reigns. Why didn't you just spear him out of his own career?"
Right.
I want to see. Now I really want this shit. Oh my God, the fucking Balor Club thing. Like, holy shit, they finally start actually booking Finn. That line where he's like, we've been running together since before you found out Kurt Angle was your dad. I'm like, it's completely a kayfabe burn, but that's fucking great. It's fucking great.
Yeah.
I even was okay for the first time with them doing the whole nerds thing. Usually hate that shit, but the way Finn built it up. What's that word we were calling him? What is it? Starts with an N. It's just like, oh my God, they turned Finn Balor into a fucking troll. Speaking of trolling, did you catch what a lot of people have been calling trolling on the commentary during this match?
What?
There's a bit where Corey Graves, he's talking about Balor Club, and he's putting them over hard. And he mentions that they are the elite. And he puts emphasis on the words the elite, and then says to accept no substitutes.
Ooh, jeez.
Like, really, Corey? Like, damn, son, that took some, as Vince would say, grapefruits.
It really does, and especially with WWE having, their issues with the sort of elite people as is, I mean, the whole cease and desist thing, and they're just thinking like, since they could take shots at us, let's take some shots at them, and just be like, man, either they're building up to something big, or they're just really doing, like you said, being masters of trolling, just saying saying, "Oh, we're going to give you this, but we're not going to really give you what you want." And that's Kenny Omega and WWE. Because come on, let's face it, that would just not be fair to
that ain't going to happen anytime soon. He just signed a full minimum 1-year contract with New Japan Pro. So
really,
they want him. Yep, they want him there. He wants to stay. Unfortunately, I do kind of think that this is probably going to lead. They're probably going to push him towards the IWGP title, and then he's just going to get, Rainmaker to death because that's just how it goes these days. But I just saying.
No, I know.
Yeah, he's sticking with New Japan. He's staying there. I mean, hell, he's still holding their U.S. belt, so I don't think we're going to be seeing even a whisper of Kenny Omega anywhere near WWE for a long time, if ever.
Not unless it's probably like for a one-time contract, and that was something that I mentioned in the booking deal where I had Finn Balor versus Kenny Omega at WrestleMania. I said it'd just be a one-time deal. They bring in a couple of the Bullet Club guys, just doing that, and like I said, it would honestly be one of those things that would be great to see Cody Rhodes versus Finn Balor in a matchup, because why the hell not? That'd be amazing.
You know what I think would be really great?
What?
It's like they're doing this Kenny versus Finn match, right? We're getting in the match, and you got the Club coming out, and they go up against Bullet Club, and like there's shenanigans and all that, and then ref is down. Everyone else but, Finn and Kenny are, down. Like, maybe Finn and Kenny are just, backed up into the corners, right?
Yeah.
AJ Styles comes out. And AJ Styles still hasn't forgotten Kenny Omega shit-kicking him out of Bullet Club. So he hits him with the Styles Clash, throws Finn over him, 1, 2, 3, and then 2 Sweets Balor Club after the match.
Jeez, that would be...
Best part is, you could have, the next night, on Raw or SmackDown, whatever, AJ, kind of, why did I do it? He explains, because, what Kenny did to him, and it's like, am I afraid of, repercussions? I don't know. Why should I be afraid of a guy who only signed a one-night deal?
Man.
And then, maybe have him join Balor Club, and now I've gotten so far into the fantasy booking rabbit hole.
My God.
I'm so far in there, I'm finding Asuka versus Ronda Rousey matches.
Oh, man. I legitimately would love to see that. That would be just absolutely amazing. Yeah, but we'll just have to wait and see what happens. Like we said, so far, good job, Raw. You did a great job of finally booking the Club actually strong and actually good. And I guess...
Finn got over.
I guess keep doing what you're doing with Jason Jordan, because somehow it's kind of funny, but it's also cringeworthy. But
I think they're getting closer and closer to that sweet spot between being really cringy and really funny. And I think it's just going to take a few more weeks, and they're going to get there.
Unless, like I said, they're in Texas and they do the sombrero poncho thing. And I could see Kurt Angle even just saying, son, get your own gimmick.
Right there, I'd be sold permanently. I want to see Jason Jordan as Universal Champion now. Why? Because of that one little exchange. Homie rolled out in a tiny sombrero and got chewed out by his dad, who once wore a tiny cowboy hat. I don't think you understand the depths of my love for Kurt Angle and the tiny cowboy hat. The only thing that Kurt Angle has done that doesn't involve wrestling in a ring that I love more than that tiny cowboy hat is, I'm just a sexy Kurt.
Sexy Kurt. Ankle hurt. Oh, man. So,
people forget, motherfucker was hilarious.
Oh, man. All right, so we got to move on from that. Definitely we'll need to talk more about the craziness that is Kurt Angle and his sexy Kurt. But, we'll get into that a little bit later. Something that definitely did happen, and is also another one of those huge negatives when it comes to this year. Samoa Joe apparently might be out with an injury, and from what people are saying, what did they mention if it was like a sprain or if it was a tear or what is going on with his ankle?
I've been hearing so many different reports. I've heard sprain, I've heard tear, I've heard break, I've heard he's going to need surgery, I've heard he's not going to need surgery, I heard he's going to need multiple surgeries. There is just, for one, usually the rumor mill surrounding things like injuries pretty consistent and usually spot on, or at the very least not too far off from what actually has happened. But this time, it's just people are throwing out everything. I think it might have a little bit to do, we might be seeing the retirement of Paige due to injury, so it's got people really tense and nervous, like, oh God, please tell me something. And, like, there's not a chance in hell. Like, if Samoa Joe's career was over, we would have found out before now. I don't know any details on injury or anything, but I do know he might not be back for WrestleMania.
And that is really sucky, because when you found out what his plans were for WrestleMania, it's just like, no, why, no. Because, spoiler alert, guys, a lot of people know this, his plans for WrestleMania this year was to go one-on-one with Mr. John Cena himself. And legitimately, when I saw that, I'm like, why? No. I want this. Please, no. Please let, if there's a God, please, in this wrestling world, please let Samoa Joe just be healthy by WrestleMania. I want to see Cena versus Joe. I want to see Joe choke the living lights out of John Cena. Please, Have
you heard the rumor mill as to what might be replacing that?
I have, and please, by all means, tell us, because I think I know what it is.
This is just the rumor mill again, folks. I know we've been talking about that a lot on this episode, but a lot of things have recently come up surrounding it. But the current talk of the town is that since we can't get John Cena versus Samoa Joe, a match that I would have fucking gladly paid to see, they might drag The Undertaker out of retirement and have him face John Cena. And I'm just, but could you not? Can you just let the man be retired? Put the hat and the coat in the ring. Let it be over, for the love of God. Please. He's given everything for this industry, and that moment was one of the most genuinely emotional things that's happened in WWE in like 15 plus years. Let it go. John Cena, there's plenty of high-profile people that you could have John Cena face off against in a big, huge WrestleMania match. I get it. Samoa Joe versus John Cena would have probably been fucking aces. It probably would have torn the house down. But, no. Have some fucking respect for The Undertaker, for the audience. No. Nobody wants that. I don't want that. I know you probably don't want it. I know most of the people listening don't want it. I don't even think John Cena would want it. I mean, maybe The Undertaker, but I don't even fucking know that. It's just, can this one just stay in the rumor mill, please?
I hope it stays in the rumor mill, but I think we're going to find out, not this Monday, but I think the following Monday when it's the Raw 25th anniversary show, I believe it is. It's been confirmed that there are a lot of people that are going to be there, including The Undertaker, and one that actually surprised me is that one that's been announced is Eric Bischoff. He's actually going to be...
Really?
Yeah, he's going to be involved in this 25th anniversary show. And a lot of rumor mills have been stating that maybe this is going to be his announcement for him going into the Hall of Fame. And immediately I'm just like, yes, give him his own wing, yes.
Oh, man. I did not hear about Bischoff being added. Holy shit. I mean, it makes sense. 25th anniversary of Raw. You know, he was a general manager of Raw. On screen, he's the one who invented the Elimination Chamber. He brought the World Heavyweight title back out. And for crying out loud, Eric Bischoff, WCW, NWO, kind of a defining thing for WWE. So, damn, though. But I did know about Undertaker coming back for Raw 25. I'm just hoping it's just like a little moment. Like, hell, what I would really love, personally, would be just him taking a moment to, explain, this was, last WrestleMania was his last ride, like, actually codify it, just have a little moment with the fans. That would be fucking cool. Maybe he can tombstone someone. Eric Bischoff. I don't know. Everyone would be like, oh my god, Undertaker just tombstoned Eric Bischoff. It would take me right back to, like, 2003. I'm not even kidding. But, I swear to God, I don't even care who his opponent is. I don't care if it's John Cena, AJ Styles, whoever. The moment I see a stare down between Taker and someone on the roster, and one or both of them pointing to the WrestleMania sign, it's the moment I'm just gonna... I'm gonna flip a table, I swear. Don't do it, WWE. This isn't even me joking. This is just... let it go.
You know what? I think this is going to be such a big event for Monday Night Raw. I think we're going to need to do a live reaction show for that. I think you and I need to do a live reaction show. Yep. So...
easily.
So be sure to tune in, the guys, because in a couple weeks we'll be doing the live reaction show for Raw.
You get to see me flip a table.
Yes, we could see him flip a table. All right. So another great thing that happened on Raw this past week was the whole deal that happened between Kane and Brock Lesnar. Oh, these two fight. Oh, boy. Oh, nobody cares. Nobody cares. Oh, my God. Here comes a wild Braun Strowman. Then Braun Strowman decides, yeah, I'm just going to chuck this equipment at you, Kane. And it's like, oh, hey, there's this nice big old, stage equipment thing here. Let's just give it a really good tug and see what happens. Crush. Oh, my God. Did Braun Strowman... Okay, throughout last year, Braun Strowman probably got murdered at least 2 or 3 times. So now this year, we're starting off with him attempting the murder?
You know what? I'm totally fine with that.
Me too.
I do have one question, though. One little question. And that's this. They were backstage. A whole bunch of backstage equipment. It's like, okay, that's cool. That's cool. He reaches into a box. And ladies and gentlemen, all of you in the audience, he pulls out a device that is the device that he then proceeds to use to pull down the giant metal rig. It was a fucking grappling hook. And he nailed it in one shot. Like, that's cool and all, but why does WWE have a fucking gas-powered grappling hook? Like, what? Let my geek side out here a little bit. There's this show, I used to love it, ended about a year or two ago, called Gravity Falls. And there's a scene where one of the main characters gets all excited because she finds a grappling hook and she just uses it over and over throughout the rest of the show. And at the end of the episode where she gets it, someone actually asks, where did she get the grappling hook? Where did Braun get why did they have a grappling hook? That entire thing was awesome. He basically attempted murder. Although it's Brock Lesnar and Kane. I'm not sure either one of them can actually die at this point. But still, let's just... grappling hook? I know, out of all the... Like, it's a giant, unkillable swamp hillbilly, pulling down a giant stage rigging on top of a literal demon and a man that is so ridiculously overpowered he can kill the man powered by death, and the thing I'm questioning is the grappling hook. But where did the grappling hook come from? This is gonna bother me. That being said, that entire sequence was fucking... It's insane. I loved every... It's like, oh my... Well, they're dead now, guys. So much for Kane being mayor.
I literally look at this deal as kind of like going from for a heart rate monitor where it goes like completely flatline between. It's like, oh, well, here's Kane and Brock. They're fighting against each other. Braun Strowman gets involved. A little bit of a beep, beep. Then we slowly get into him getting crazy. Start going faster. And then as soon as he reaches that grappling hook and the whole thing with him dragging down the stage equipment, it's just like one of those things where the heart rate monitor is just going absolutely crazy to the point where it feels like your heart's just going to explode. But it's like, we don't care. We don't care. It's just going to keep going. I mean, eventually it'll calm down, but I think more people are just going to be like, beep, 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 just completely going. Like, yeah, this is not normal for us, but we're going to go with it because it's awesome.
Okay.
Right?
I don't know how it would work, but I'm just saying, on Monday, they just announced, like, all right, we have changed the triple threat Universal title match to a triple threat grappling hook match. How the fuck does it work? You don't care, grappling hook. Braun Strowman just pulls it out and fires it. It, like, just bashes into Brock Lesnar's chest, knocks him over. He's just like, the fuck? He, like, ties him up with the cord.
Oh, man.
Any other use of weapons will get you disqualified, but the grappling hook is legal.
They'll start legitimately calling him Batman Strowman.
Strowman. Strowman.
I kind of want this now.
I just want to say this right now, ladies and gentlemen. No, I'm not drunk, okay? This is me sober.
Oh, man. I think we got one more positive thing to think about when it comes to Monday Night Raw, and then we'll move on to SmackDown. That being the return of the awesome one, The Miz, coming back and being as good as The Miz can be. I love the exchange.
Lord and Savior has returned. Moment of silence. He lost his Pidgeotto haircut. Okay, I'm over it. That segment was fucking awesome.
Oh, man. Legitimately, I love the segment with him doing the Miz TV deal, making his return, and then you see Curtis Axel and Bo Dallas, basically they're arguing for the Miz's attention. Just, oh my God. Already I'm thinking to myself, okay, they might be trying to split these guys up, but in all honesty, this is kind of the way you would do it. You have Bo and...
No, don't split them up. They're fucking great. No, leave it be.
Well,
if they're splitting them up, I am unhappy.
Well, I might be standing corrected because later on in the show, after the Shield, Team Gold or whatever they want to call themselves, they got beat down by the Miztourage, including the Miz, not only stating his claim for the Intercontinental title, in which, hey, we're getting that rematch at Raw 25. Awesome! And we got the Miztourage doing a triple powerbomb to Roman Reigns because reasons and because the Miz loves to see the internet just explode with happiness. That is the Miz's job in WWE right now, just taking the internet and just saying, you really want this, do you? Okay, we're going to give it to you. Boom, done. Okay, I've done my work. I'm going to go home and be with my wife and my new kid soon. Just, oh man, it's just good to see the Miz back. The Raw feels complete again.
Right? It feels, there was definitely something missing. And, well, he's back, so it's all good.
Yes. And also, I want to kind of mention this, that it would be kind of cool to see the Miz regain the Intercontinental title on Raw 25, because here's the thing, people forgot that his first Intercontinental title run happened at Raw 1000 when he defeated Christian. So it would be kind of an interesting, deal where he wins the Intercontinental title for an 8th time is it an 8th time or is it a 9th time? I've lost track now. I don't know how many times.
I don't remember anymore.
It is 8. It is 8 because he won 7 against Dean Ambrose. That's right. I remember now. Speaking of kids, Mike and Maria Bennett. Yes, I said Bennett, not Kanellis. Mike and Maria Bennett, they revealed the gender of their baby.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're expecting a little baby girl.
Aww.
I know, it was actually crazy. WWE did a nice little video where Mike and Maria, they're just with their families. They're doing like a lot of these little baby deals. Mike is cooking up some tacos, and he's just like, "Do you think people are gonna like my tacos?" Because he's cooking I think 100 pounds of beef or something like that. So funny. Then they did this little random quiz about what the gender of the kid would be, and then they had those little party streamers at the end to basically reveal whether it was going to be a boy or girl. Although I'm not gonna lie, as cool as that was and as touching as that was, nothing can beat the broken Matt Hardy reveal that they did on New Year's, where they revealed that they were expecting a boy. When, like, I think, yeah, it was the beginning of this year, I think it was, where it's just like, we will now reveal, all we expect is Rebecca pregnant with a boy or a girl. There's just this big explosion of blue. I just thought, okay, that's cool. Nothing beats that. I'm sorry. I don't care if you have, like, the sweetest thing ever. Nothing will be as epic as Broken Matt Hardy basically doing his Broken Brilliance and having this giant explosion of blue just popping out of the ground, stating, yes, we will have a boy. King Maxwell will have a brother. It's like, oh my god. I love this moment. I love when people go above and beyond to show that they love their kids and to show their gender. I love it. That's the moment where it's like, yep, nope, no matter what you do.
Anyone's gonna go over the top with that shit. It's gonna be Broken Man.
Yeah. Just legitimately really awesome. And also we did find out that Matt and Bray, they're going to be in the Royal Rumble. So we're not getting a match with them yet, but we're going to get a little confrontation between the two of them in the Rumble. I'm loving it. I want to see it.
Also, while I do still think that they're dragging their heels on the way they're handling the Woken gimmick, it's like Chess with the Goldfish and, you know, that promo where he talks about, you know, knowing Sister Abigail's soul throughout the ages. Those were great. But this has mostly just been the funny, kooky laugh. That's mostly what it's boiled down to. And I'm sure they want to wait, maybe go post the Rumble before they do anything big with him. Totally understandable. But that being said, could do a little bit more. You know, just actually create a fully fleshed out universe. That amazing fucking theme song that he's got going for him right now is certainly helping.
See, I disagree. I'm not a fan of that theme music. I liked it better when they did the music where it's just the piano playing. I just think that works better for him. It's classical, it's nice, it's melodic, and you wouldn't expect, you know, a crazy person to come out with you know, just like a random piano piece. You would just expect him to be like really classy, like, you know, Hunter Hearst Helmsley. But no, it's just one of those things where it's like very soft and peace of mind, and you're just coming out there. It's just like, oh, this is nice, this is great. All of a sudden, here comes this crazy madman coming out there with a crazy laugh and just be like, wonderful. And it's like, oh my god, this is the best combination ever. And they did it on a house show. They had the theme music for a house show, and I'm thinking, oh great, we're getting this theme music. And then I hear that on Raw, I'm like, what? What the hell is this? Just what is this? Like, back when that fad was, you know, what are those? For me, it's like, what is this?
I don't know. I mean, I personally dig it. I think it works since it's, you know, the WWE rendition of it. You know, this is the Woken Matt theme. So I also think that, you know, we haven't really seen enough of where this gimmick is going to go in WWE to really decide. Like, who knows? I mean, when they finally really start fleshing it out, maybe I'll, you know, suddenly go, oh wow, this theme really does not fit for what they're doing. But for now, I will confess, I really like the new theme. Although, they really need to change, if they're going to give him a new theme based around the whole Woken gimmick, maybe change up his Titantron, because that was still the Hardy Boys Titantron, which, it's like, oh wow, this is completely new theme music, it's Woken Matt theme, Hardy Boys Tron. You forget something there, WWE? You missed the spot.
I mean, it's not like the first time that they've done something like that. I mean, they played wrong people's theme musics all the time, or weird little Titantron. I mean, and honestly, come on, this is the same company that, you know, in a camera angle made Big Cass go from that to Big Ass. So,
yeah.
So in all fairness, do we expect more from WWE? Sometimes, but do we get it? Not all the time. Let's face it. All right, let's go on to SmackDown Live and to our waking nightmare of, indeed, we're getting Bobby Roode versus, drumroll, not even worth it, Mojo Rawley. God damn it.
I give up on life.
It was too predictable. I was thinking to myself, maybe if they did a change and they had Zack Ryder win, maybe they'll give, you know, a good twist on this angle, because let's face it, Mojo Rawley isn't that over, even as a heel right now. It's like, hey, he's a heel. Great. Has he done anything? No, he's just beating up Zack Ryder. Well, you really know how to make me hate you, don't you? What? It's just Zack Ryder. It's not just Zack Ryder. He won the U.S. title because of an internet show. He won the Intercontinental title because he was a replacement, and it was one of the best moments in WrestleMania history. Just, why do you hate me? Woo, 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 WWE, you blow it. God dang it.
I mean, as long-time listeners will know, I have never been a Mojo Rawley fan, but just... What the fuck is this? Come on, guys. Just no.
As long as we don't get Mojo Rawley and Xavier Woods as the finals for the U.S. title, then I'm fine with that. Just...
Don't even talk about that, man.
We're done. We're done talking about it.
No. It's not even a possibility.
So one thing that I did forget to mention for Raw, they did announce a Raw Tag Team title matchup between Jason Jordan and Seth Rollins defending against The Bar. We got another Tag Team title match that was announced, and that was a 2 out of 3 falls match between Chad Gable, Shelton Benjamin, and the Usos. And in all honesty, the way that they built this up, and just, honest to God, again, I think the pairing between Shelton Benjamin and Chad Gable is still awesome. I love what they're doing. I think that Chad Gable is going to be a big-time star going into the future. I'm hoping that he becomes either Intercontinental Champion or U.S. Champion in this year. And in all honesty, I'm honestly hoping that him and Shelton win the tag team titles once before they decide to break the two of them up. Just, oh my gosh, I love what these guys do. I love that, Chad Gable has kind of like that awkwardness to him, but Shelton Benjamin tries a way to just save him on certain occasions, and then it goes like the other way around. It's like these two work so well with each other. I love the way they wrestle in the ring. I love the way they work together. I'm a big fan of the Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin team. I'm just saying that right now.
Oh, no. They're freaking great together. I think they're doing gangbusters. I'm totally all over them right now.
How do you feel about this stipulation that was added, 2 out of 3 falls between them and the Usos?
Oh, boy. That match is going to fucking just own. That match is going to be amazing. 2 out of 3 falls between the current version of the Usos and those two? Jesus. It's going to be mental.
It's going to be awesome. It's going to be electric. Yeah, we're probably not going to make it past Royal Rumble, probably.
Oh, God.
But but we'll wait and see. Trying to think if there was anything else major that happened. I think the other major thing that happened was the handicap match that happened was Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn versus AJ Styles, Shinsuke Nakamura, and Randy Orton. Owens and Zayn had their first loss as a team, but that was because Shane McMahon is a complete dick. I'm just laying it all on the line right there. Daniel Bryan
is not wrong.
Yeah. Daniel Bryan is legitimately probably one of the best things about SmackDown right now. And while the questionable decision of having a handicap match between Styles, Owens, and Zayn, I still think it's going to be a good matchup, because one thing that I actually wish that they could have brought up, because I actually just watched one of The Rock's promos, because he actually had a handicap match for the WCW title. It was him versus Shane McMahon and Booker T. I would have loved it if Daniel Bryan would have just said, what do you have against handicap matches? I mean, it's not like you've been involved in a championship handicap match, right? I would have loved that moment. If somebody would have caught that, if one person would have caught that, I would have been like, yes, there is one person in this world that has the same mindset as I do. Because, again, I would just love to hear somebody just be like, oh, yeah, you team with Booker T against The Rock, you douche.
You teamed against Booker T with The Rock, you douche.
But yeah, we also got to see Shinsuke Nakamura and Sami Zayn in the ring, which was awesome. And we also saw Sami Zayn get his head kicked in, which, I think a lot of us could live without, but it was still very beautiful. Sami Zayn takes a Kinshasa like no other.
Oh, God. No, dude takes it like he's getting hit by a bus.
It always seems like Sami Zayn's always getting hit by a bus, though. With the way his body just crumples up. It's just... it's just absolutely insane how they do it. But yeah, as far as Raw and SmackDown goes, it was another relatively okay show. I think that with the next 2 weeks, they're definitely going to step up their game because it's Royal Rumble time. They need to start, getting this over. And plus, with Raw's 25th anniversary show coming up in 2 weeks, they definitely do need to really make things more interesting. I think Raw is definitely going to knock it out of the park, and SmackDown is going to need to really do something absolutely amazing to really try and even come close to that. Maybe have like an appearance or two by special guests. Maybe they have like a superstar make a random return. Who knows? I just think that it's going to be amazing to see what they do.
Oh, it's going to be fucking beautiful.
Yes. All right. So, with that, a little bit about NXT for a lot of people that don't kind of know what's going on. There's also going to be a little bit of spoilers because they just announced next week that the Street Profits will be taking on the Authors of Pain, and the winners will go on to face the Undisputed Era for the NXT Tag Team Championships. Spoiler alert to those of you that don't want to hear it. 1, 2, 3, spoiler. Authors of Pain are going over, and they're going to face Undisputed Era inside of a steel cage. That itself that says NXT TakeOver right there. I'm loving it. I'm not going to lie. And they also made another matchup for the third member of Undisputed Era. Adam Cole will be taking on Aleister Black. Whoo, boy. I am looking forward to that matchup.
That's going to be fun.
Oh, no, that's not, there's more. There is more. Do you want to know what's going to happen? It's going to be contested under Extreme Rules.
Oh, baby.
Oh, baby. We might not be here anymore. We might be dead. NXT TakeOver. I think it's in Philadelphia I think it's in Philadelphia. So NXT Philly is going to be absolutely lit, and I think the crowd is going to be just. They're probably going to be like, oh my god, we're witnessing actual wrestling. This hasn't been good since ECW. Oh wow, we're not going to see Roman Reigns win the Royal Rumble. Yay! Just NXT Philly is just like, yeah, we're good. We might die, but we're good.
Yeah, we might die, but it's cool. It's a good die.
It's a good die. All right, so before we wrap up this edition of the Game Changer, just wanted to actually talk a little bit about the WWE Mixed Match Challenge. It's going to be taking place this upcoming Tuesday on Facebook Watch. Just definitely go and check it out, you guys. It's going to be awesome. But I want to do some final plugs. Definitely go check us out on our Facebook fan page, facebook.com/changing up the game. You can also check us out on YouTube, Mr. NTG1990, as well as on SoundCloud, and also live here always on Spreaker.com. You can always check out Mr. Max Beatty on his Twitter at AgentCooper1989. You can also follow me on Twitter as well at RealFNGame. A lot of things are going to be coming up these next few weeks, you guys. We're going to have prediction show coming in about 2 weeks from now. We'll also be doing some coverage for the Royal Rumble. A lot of stuff that's going to be going on throughout the next couple weeks. So we're going to end this show talking about the WWE Mixed Match Challenge. So basically what this is just a major tournament in which a bunch of mixed match people are going to be battling for a chance to give $100,000 to a charity of their choice. Now, these are going to be mixed match challenges because they're going to be contested under mixed tag team rules. So, with that being said, who are going to be the participants in this? Well, I'm glad you asked. So, first off, we have Alexa Bliss and Braun Strowman, Charlotte Flair and Bobby Roode, Sasha Banks and Finn Balor, Lana and Rusev, Naomi and Jimmy Uso, Nia Jax and Apollo Crews, Asuka and The Miz, Alicia Fox and Goldust, Bayley and Elias, Natalya and Shinsuke Nakamura, Becky Lynch and Sami Zayn, Carmella and Big E. And each one of these teams are going to be representing a different charity. I know that for Natalya and Shinsuke Nakamura, for example, they're going to be representing Make-A-Wish Foundation. I believe that there's going to be one that's going to be representing the Boys and Girls Club. I think that's actually Jimmy Uso and Naomi, if I'm not mistaken. A lot of these great charity events, and it's going to be absolutely just an awesome event. Can't miss. The brackets are kind of interesting because in the semifinals they actually have a bit of a mixed match deal because they have two teams that will be teaming up. They'll be facing off against each other, but they also have like an extra bracket involved. And in that bracket, the winning team will be taking on another team via a second chance fan vote. So the fans will get to choose who is going to get a second chance to compete for the charity of their choice. So let's run down the card so far. Starting this Tuesday, it's going to be just one at a time. We start off with Finn Balor and Sasha Banks versus Shinsuke Nakamura and Natalya. Next week, the following week, we'll have Miz and Asuka taking on Big E and Carmella. Then we'll have Braun Strowman and Alexa Bliss versus Becky Lynch and Sami Zayn. Goldust and Alicia Fox will be taking on Jimmy Uso and Naomi. Elias and Bayley will be taking on Rusev and Lana. And the final bracket will be Apollo Crews and Nia Jax taking on Bobby Roode and Charlotte Flair. And here's the interesting part about it, is that the broadcast team is going to consist of Michael Cole, Corey Graves, and you want to take a guess on who the third one is?
Ah, dude, just tell me.
Beth Phoenix.
No.
I was about to say,
no.
Yeah.
Really?
It says right here, Michael Cole, Corey Graves, and Beth Phoenix. They will be on commentary. She's going to be the color commentator.
Holy fuck, that's awesome.
I had a feeling that you were probably like, and I think I hear you just have like this long, prolonged silence. I'm like, uh-oh, I may have killed Max. Or it's just one of those things where it's like, wait, did I hear that right? Did you say, you said Beth Phoenix, the wife of Edge. Beth Phoenix is going to be on commentary. It's like, yeah.
Fuck, man. That's awesome.
It is awesome. So, yeah, we're going to do this like week by week about who's basically going to win. And you know something? Since it'll be between you and me and we're doing predictions, I'll do this. I'll put the Game Changer title on the line. So the person that gets the most right at the end will win the title. How's it sound, buddy?
Works for me.
All right. So let's do it. We're doing the first matchup round, which is Finn Balor and Sasha Banks versus Shinsuke Nakamura and Natalya. So who have you got and why?
The team that doesn't have Natalya because it doesn't have Natalya.
So you're going with Balor and Banks?
Yup.
Yeah, fair enough. I'll go with Nakamura and Natalya. I just think, King of Strong style, hard to take him down. Finn Balor, Sasha Banks, love you guys, but nobody's ready for the Nakamura. Not even Jinder. I'm just saying that right now. Bottom line.
No, I can see that.
All right, so throughout the weeks, we will indeed continue to be talking about, who will advance and who moves on, and we'll determine who will be the winner and the champion for the Game Changer, you guys. So thank you again, Max, for joining me on the show. It's always fun doing these with you.
Always a pleasure, my friend.
It's going to be awesome. Be sure to tune in on Sunday, guys, because we're going to be doing another club battle deal in which we're talking about 3 more movies that are going to step into our ring and decide who is going to be the next one. Because last week, if you missed it, we talked about the first movies in the Spider-Man series. Go check them out. This week, it's going to be even better. So thank you guys so much. So for Max Beatty, I'm Nate the Effing Great. And we will see you guys in the next episode. Bye-bye.
Adios.